I have the real truth here. Even though Trump hated Epstein, the truth is this: Trump put the hit out on Epstein. Yes, this is about Trump. Never forget this is about Trump. And if we can just get rid of Trump and what he's done to our great democracy, we'll go back to America in its glory. Here's the real truth about Epstein. Okay, he was helping Trump win. And then around 2018, he abruptly turned face. I think it's because Jared Kushner was elected to run the government since, Dementia Boy can't run anything. And because of this, a combination of Putin and Saudi Arabia and Trump especially put the hit out on Epstein. And he was, I used to think Epstein killed himself, obviously, like I thought he killed himself, but with these files now, I must accept that there's a conspiracy all centering on Trump. And this is why we have to back Gavin Newsom in 2028 because he's gonna, like, you could just look at his tan and his plastic face and his American Psycho eyes, and you just know he's gonna clean up America. He's totally gonna stand up to Israel and, I mean, our greatest ally, and, fight for America first. None of this hate. I I don't know about you, but America was such a great country, like for people and stuff. And then all of a sudden, in 2015, we got this president who spoke really bad. George Bush never spoke bad. He would be like, we're all in this together. He'd be like, we're all Americans and we care about freedom. And that's not what Trump did. Trump said the enemies are in our own country and they're immigrants. And this was so different from George Bush. Like George Bush would say, we have to go declare war on other countries and make a surveillance state because we're all Americans and we're great together. And then Trump stopped saying that and he said we have to make an even bigger surveillance state because the enemies are within the country and they're Mexicans and brown people and liberals and stuff. And I just can't stand for that. When we get rid of Trump, all of this will get better. I promise you. And Newsom 2028 will be the first step to healing this fractured country. I mean, George Bush, like, he was a real leader, okay? Like, he told us the enemies were outside. Like, I remember it then, and the only enemies were people who were against the war. And they're traitors. They're traitors, so, they should have been persecuted. Um, and, of course, anyone Arab. But, like, if you're with America, you weren't it wasn't because you were Arab. It's just because, the enemies were outside and they were Arabs. Do you get it? It's totally different. Yeah, so that's why we had to make the Patriot Act and why we had to go to war. Because we were all together in this great nation. And he spoke very nice. He never ever said Arabs were towelheads or he didn't call this country shitholes. And I'm telling you, when Trump started talking really bad, that's when this thing went to shit. Absolutely. Like all our presidents virtue signaled. And then all of a sudden we have this guy who just talks bad and the deplorables, like Hillary said, the deplorables took control. I mean, a woman who stands by a serial rapist, like you would think that's a no. The deplorable is somebody who's a victim of Reagan's plot to make an ignorant populace so education is more inaccessible and also the free education system is really shitty. That's the real deplorable. Not a woman who stands by a serial rapist who's best friends with Epstein. the person who doesn't know better and falls. The only reason to fall for Trump is you're evil. Let's be real. Who could fall for that if you're not an evil Nazi who wants to put people's heads on spikes? I mean, all he said was, I care about the working class and we're going to make America great again. And, things have been getting bad for the working class for a really long time. I mean, every indicator is wealth inequality is scaling to next level proportions. You could even say they're kings at this point, but I don't even think it's appropriate to call them kings because kings were accountable to the people, and these people don't feel accountable to anybody because they think they stole enough technology that they're unstoppable. So they literally do not care what we think at this point, which is why at this point they're telling us they all just rape people and don't go to jail. Yeah, no, but the real deplorable is a person who's a victim of America. I mean, the perpetrator. Like, if you have light skin, obviously you're guilty of slavery, right? Like, it's not the rich who keep things the way it is and preventing it's anybody in the class of white, right? And so if you're falling for MAGA, that tells me that you're a white supremacist and you should have your head on a spike. And it can't possibly be shit like when he says you're going to have more money than you know what to do with it. And, like things actually have gotten really bad for the working class. No, it's just purely hate. One might say that Trump has made people confuse their actual suffering with minorities. And rather than address the actual suffering so the scapegoating works less, I'm just going to choose to say they're doing great, better than ever, and they just truly want to hate. Just like in Germany, like that was the issue in Germany. They were just purely evil people. Like they weren't starving or anything. Like it wasn't like there was a depression or something. They just felt like hating. And that's the same thing going on right now with Trump. Why so many they fell for him because they're evil, not because they were distinctly told all of the things that are making your quality of life worse are because of minorities. No. And it's the same thing in Germany. They were just fucking evil people. All right. It's not like they were starving. It's not like you had to take a wheelbarrow full of Deutschmarks to get one piece of bread if you're lucky. They just felt like being hateful because they're shitty fucking people, right? Anyway, so I live in a upper middle class community with other like-minded people because I'm a better person. I went to college because I'm a better person, and these people are just evil. So when we get rid of Trump, who talks bad, a new age of America waits, and I can't wait for Newsom 2028 because this is all Trump. All Trump. When as soon as he got up there and said, "I don't like shitholes," or like you're a piggy. That's what caused all the problems, him talking bad. So we need to support Palantir because they're going to hunt anybody who talks bad and we'll never have to worry about being offended again. It's going to be great. Once Gavin Newsom's in charge and we have control of who Palantir hunts, they'll just be hunting like these people who talk bad. We have to worry about nothing, right? And Gavin Newsom will totally turn this thing around. Okay, because this started when Trump started speaking bad. George Bush never did that. He was like, my fellow Americans, we all must band together against the excess of evil. And he told us we're all together, and the only people who weren't were Arabs and anybody against his war, right? If you were just obviously in favor of the war of justice, like, even though it was kind of illegal, like, you were fine. When did Bush leverage fear and division? Hello, we were all united as long as we're good citizens and support the war for Israel. I mean, the war against terror, right? Terror. Terror. You have to go to war if you're scared. Come on. Like the other day, somebody said, fuck you. And I said, I want to declare war on you, bitch, because I'm scared now. So it was a righteous war on terror. We were terrified, right? And they told us, like, who blew this up, Saddam? And I said, all right. Trump, totally out of the box. Nothing like the presidents before him. Because now he's saying there's enemies within the country. And the surveillance state they started then for enemies outside the country are now enemies within the country. And they're saying it's all kinds of people, brown people who vote Democrat, families who work under the table, but their kids are using Medicaid services. Um, Fucking liberals and leftists, like all kinds of, and of course, anyone talks bad about our greatest ally, Israel, right? This is completely fucking different. Now there's so many enemies, and they're not saying we're all together anymore. And he talks so bad, like he don't even put on a suit like a Yaley. He wears these poorly fitted, like Novu rich suits, like a fucking mobster. His suits look like shit, and does not have Southern charm. He talks like a New York gangster. He talks like a dirty New York gangster. He uses fucking mafia slang like shyster. Like the mob would talk about the Jewish mob, like the Italian mob. They would do business sometimes with the Jewish mob. Usually, they were hunting the Italian mob because they're connected to corporations, and they would use slang like shyster. He uses that slang, shyster. What is this? This is not America. And let me tell you who did it. The deplorables, the poor white trash. The poor in America are unique in their ignorance. It's because they're white. And if you went to like Pakistan and told them like let's hunt all the Hindus, no way would they buy that. If the entire state said like your problems get better when you hunt Hindus, they would not fall for that because they're not white. And the cause of this is evil white people. So they're taking the blame. And when Gavin Newsom's in charge, it's going to get so much better. So much better. And he'll go back. Right now, he's cursing. Right now, he's cursing to try to compete with Trump, and he's saying fuck you and stuff, but he'll go back to virtue signaling, and then I can feel safe, right? As a liberal, when my leaders start saying, I love you, good night, welcome to America, I love you, like the guy in Idiocracy at the Costco greeter, like then I know I'm really living in a democracy and it's not controlled by a tiny cabal of literal Satanists and bankers. I'll know for sure democracy is back. Oh, and by the way, anyone who speculates a government we say is totally illegal, not even American, like they're completely making us like Russia and stuff. Like, there's no way they could have stole the election. How could that happen? I mean, they only have like $50 trillion. Like, how could they possibly steal the election? Like, the people at Dominion are nuns and priests. Like, they are the living embodiment of God, right? And even though everyone in power has to take a vow, there's no gods but me. I mean, oops, no, that's a conspiracy. There's no way they could have manipulated the election and perverted Dominion. They'll sue you into the ground if you say so. And I think that's a great thing. There's nothing more American than punishing people for speculation and speech, right? And these people who are election deniers, there's nothing worse than doubting your government. And the people of Dominion are like, it's like doubting the Pope. You're telling me money could have converted you or threats? You're telling me money and threats from the billionaires and their intelligence agencies could have converted you to letting them steal things after we let this wealth gap get like this? No, you're a fucking evil conspiracy theorist, and you're not a good American because no good liberal in American questions their government. So simultaneously, we live in this world where like Trump's a mobster who uses New York slang, killed many people, but they would never hijack Dominion to steal the election. And everyone's saying that's a fucking crank. The people just wanted this because they're deplorables. You need to hate the bottom. Get it? Only when we kill all these people who are uniquely ignorant, uniquely evil. No way would this happen probably more easily in any other country with this amount of brainwashing. It's because they're white and racist, and never forget it. And they need to die. And we're just biding our time until the disaster. I mean, until Gavin Newsom comes in office and they can handle these motherfuckers. They have something coming to them. And I can't wait. I can't wait for my America to come back where Gavin Newsom doesn't have to say fuck you. And I wanted to go back to saying, like, I support gay rights, I support minorities, but not actually paying or making an infrastructure for those things. And I'll then feel very safe in my rich, liberal, enclave of other white people and Asians benefiting from the gross wealth inequality of America as well as educational inequalities. Rather than advocate to fix these things, I just want to hear, I love you, you love me, we're a great big liberal American family. And if that's not enough for you because you don't have education and you're struggling to make it, then you should probably just die, like Peter Thiel suggested. So I can't wait for America to get back to its former glory without these crude words that appeal to the riffraff who are terrible and racist and need to die.